Granblue Fantasy Versus is honestly one of my favorite fighting games to play just in general. I picked it up back in February of 2020 at release, and then I also picked up the PC release 1 month later in March of 2020, and honestly the game is really fun. I find all the characters to be very unique and fun to play. The stages are all very nice, the graphics are very beautiful, the combo system is also very enjoyable. Overall, it's a very fun game. Now, I just want to say really quick before we get into the meat and potatoes of the video, I just want to say that this video is not to trash Granblue Fantasy Versus or to deter you from picking it up in the future. This video is just here to talk about the wasted potential of some of the things that are going on in Granblue Fantasy Versus, as well as some of the issues and some of the things that I want to see fixed in Season 3. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Now, one of the biggest issues plaguing Granblue Fantasy Versus at this current point in time in 2021 going into 2022, even when Season 3 releases in December, I still believe that this is going to be the biggest issue because it has been the biggest issue literally since launch, and that has been the player base. The player base has been slowly but surely dying. We're pretty much dead in the water at this point in time. We do have a couple Discord communities that you guys can look into if you guys want to matchmake, but overall, the game is mostly dead. At peak hours, we're seeing about 50 to maybe 70 players, if that. Chances are you're going to be seeing more likely 30 to 50. That's just been my experience with the game, especially on PC. Now, I promise you, it's not that much better on console. Literally, it's not. So when it comes down to the player base, it's literally just dying. So in a fighting game, that's really bad because you have nobody to fight. No one to fight online is horrible. Now, there are a couple factors that go into this. One, we got the netcode, and two, we got the huge price on the game. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about, obviously, is the netcode, and I think that this one is probably the easiest one to fix. Now, if we're playing a delay-based netcode game in 2020, 2021, or 2022, during COVID, that kind of sucks. Because we're all stuck inside, we're all playing online, and that's why rollback netcode is so important even nowadays, and delay-based netcode was already outdated to begin with. Nobody likes playing a fighting game on delay-based netcode unless you're a psychopath. But either way, delay-based netcode sucks, especially when we have so little players to play with. So generally, most matches are going to be sucking because we're playing from far apart more often. There's only like 30 people. Chances are those 30 people are going to be further away. I'm playing East Coast to West Coast, East Coast to Japan. It's getting pretty hectic out there. This game really needs rollback netcode. And honestly, the developers haven't even denied that they're going to add rollback netcode. It's actually looking pretty decent. So they have said a couple things. I'm going to put them up on screen right now. They want to add it, but there are circumstances that prevent us from easily changing something that was originally designed for a delay-based system. Now, this is true. It is harder to implement rollback netcode into something that was originally meant to be delay-based, but it is still possible, which is something that they did go into detail in another interview. They said, it's not something we have planned for the moment in the case of Granblue Fantasy Versus. It would be a late addition, meaning that chances are it's going to be later into the game. We are now on Season 3. We're going into Season 3 in December, so chances are we might see rollback netcode introduced in Season 3, which is honestly something that I'm praying for, and it continues going on saying it would be pretty daunting to implement right now. We can't say whether or not it's feasible. So overall, they haven't denied whether or not they're going to be adding rollback netcode into Granblue Fantasy Versus, and honestly, I think it would be a huge waste to not add rollback netcode. It is something that the community really needs, and it's something that the more dedicated players deserve. Alright, for the next thing that I want to talk about, obviously, is the prices. Now, I don't really want to go too in-depth with this one, as it is mostly self-explanatory. The game just costs a lot of money, and especially in this day and age, no one wants to fork out a ton of money just to play a fighting game. And honestly, with how old the game is, it really should be going on sale a lot more often. Like, you can literally go onto Steam. For most sales, you can go and you can see like Dragon Ball Fighters and all that on sale, but you'll almost never see Granblue Fantasy Versus on sale, which is very unfortunate, considering that there's actually a lot of people that are saying that they would buy it, but it's too expensive. Like, the game is really expensive. Now, that's just the base game, guys. So $80. But then the DLC characters are also like $10 a piece. So if you want extra DLC characters, you got to pay $10 for those characters, which is also kind of fucked up. Now, here's one more issue that I want to bring up, and it's regarding the season passes. Now, I do believe that the Character Pass 1 needs a price cut. So does the game overall. Like, I think that the game could decrease maybe $20, $30, and it would still be fine. But the Character Pass 1 definitely needs a price decrease. Now, I'm going to bring up the calculator really quick. So we got our handy-dandy calculator. Now, one of the things that I want you guys to take note of is that the Character Pass 1 is $39.99, right? The 4 DLC characters here, we're not going to be including Beelzebub because Beelzebub is an early unlock. And basically, you just get them by playing the base story mode. That's pretty much it. Play RPG mode, you'll get them. So the prices for the DLC characters are $9.49. Multiply that by 4 because the 4 DLC characters that you get are Narmaya, Sorez, Jita, and Zoe. Now, what do you get? $37.96. Meaning that if you pay for each individual character on their own, you're actually saving more money than buying Character Pass 1. Now, if you include Beelzebub, which we will play Devil's Advocate for, right here, $41. You're saving basically $1 if you buy the season pass because Beelzebub. And we shouldn't be counting Beelzebub because Beelzebub is an early unlock which you get from just playing the RPG mode. So overall, that's one of the biggest contributing factors to the player base being so low on Granblue Fantasy Versus. There's not a lot of incentive to buy the game, and the game is also really, really expensive, especially in 2020, 2021, 2022, where COVID is a thing and we're all playing online. The delay-based netcode sucks really, really bad, and the game is super, super expensive. It's honestly one of the saddest things to see. Now, there are 2 more things that I want to talk about in this video, and they are the Battle Pass and the character balance. Now, I'm going to save the character balance for last because I really want to get into the Season Pass and how disappointed I am in the Battle Pass as a whole. The concept was very, very good, but the execution was very lazy. Now, if you guys don't know, there's a lot of outfits that you can get for characters in the mobile game, and I actually did a video on this when the Battle Pass first came out, and I thought that it had a ton of potential because we could get costumes for the characters in the game through the Battle Pass. But instead, what they did is they created colors that represented those costumes for the characters. But yeah, it's just like really bit disappointing to see that like the potential is there and it's very obvious, but they didn't really execute on it. So I'm really hoping again that in Season 3 they bring back the Battle Pass, but this time they bring it back with some flair, you know, they bring in costumes instead of colors, you know. But overall, that's pretty much it for the Battle Pass. The last thing that I want to talk about is the character balance. Now, I'm going to be the first to admit, I'm not a competitive player in the game. I haven't played in a single tournament, but I do play the game quite a lot. And overall, I think that the game has gotten a lot more boring over time as side games and Arc System Works seem to always want to make the game more boring. Now, they removed Matera's loops, they removed Belial's loops, they also removed Belial's Stomp. So if you guys don't know, Belial's air unique, he could actually stomp on your block, and that would cause him to pop up for like an overhead, so you could do like stomp, overhead, low, or, you know, something like that. And that was kind of like some fun stuff that you could do with Belial. He also had the grab loops, well, the claw loops. Matera had loops as well, so there's some examples of some fun things, but also other smaller things like really weird choices of character nerfs. For example, in the recent patch, Zeta actually got nerfed, her beam got nerfed. Like previously, it would actually beat projectiles, you know, like Catalina's fireball and stuff like that. But now, fireballs neutralize the beam and even the EX beam, and EX fireballs go right through the beam and hit Zeta, which is kind of strange considering that the beam has always been a strong part of her character and a very defining trait of her character, and for whatever reason they decided to remove that. It's just very baffling as to why they would do that. Now, this type of stuff really doesn't affect the newcomer because the newcomer doesn't really know that this stuff was even there, but the veteran players see this, and a lot of us kind of like walk away. I know that Lord Knight did that. I know that Kizzy was talking about how boring the new patch is. I know that Giuna was talking about the new patch is kind of bad. You know, everyone's talking about how bad the new patch is because they're kind of like taking away a lot of the fun stuff. And that's kind of one of the other contributing factors to why the player base is so low and why they've wasted so much of this potential, the game's potential, because they keep making things more boring. And that's kind of frustrating to see, because even the dedicated players are leaving the game because the developers just keep making things boring. Like, they don't want any crazy things in the game. They just want grounded, neutral footsies, and that's it. They want you to poke. They want you to play the mobile game, essentially. And it's kind of infuriating to see, because as a longtime player, literally been playing since launch, it's really demotivating to see that kind of thing, you know? Because I've been playing the game for so long, a lot of people have been playing the game for so long, and it's almost as if our opinion as a community just doesn't matter. Overall, that's pretty much it for this video. Those have been my thoughts on the game. Some of the things they could do to fix the game and get some people to come back is to bring back the crazy stuff with the characters, you know, make things fun again, add rollback netcode, bring back the battle pass, but this time add like costumes and stuff, you know, make it more exciting and more worthwhile. Decrease the price a little bit, maybe put it up on sale when there's a Steam sale or like a PlayStation sale a lot more often, you know? I think they could do a lot of things to bring back the game, especially with Season 3 starting off so strong with Vira. I really, really hope that Side Games and Arcsys Works can do it, but we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, guys, that is it for this video. Peace out. It's been Casual.